Enjoy this QR code. It's going to give you some great value on 4 quick tips on how I've built my entire structure, and it's helped me with my success. It's know your client, know your craft, set expectation, and slow down. First one, know your client. Knowing your client doesn't always mean giving them the best deal or mean monetarily. Some of the things that I like to ask them is, what are you looking for in a contractor that you're going to hire? One, they may just first of all be looking for the most economical system for their investment. That might be one of the things. 2, they may have a failing roof system and they do not have any legitimate collateral damage, so they're purchasing this retail. So you're asking them and drawing out from them what it is they're actually looking for. They may tell you I'm low on funds, and tell you it's a money thing. They may want some type of design thing. They may want the best that there is. Everything done by the book. Everybody's different. Because you can get the same duration and longevity of warranties in restorations as you can in replacements, you can do 10, 15, and 20 years, and you can do it for a much less significant price point. If they're paying retail and they're really looking to make sure they maximize their dollar, it's going to be a lot more efficient for them to do a restoration when they're paying directly out of pocket. Now, let's say it's an insurance claim, and in that insurance claim, they didn't have a very good policy. Maybe it was an ACV, or I had a guy the other day that had just under $100,000 in code upgrades allowances, but he only got $5,000 of it because he exceeded his policy limit. So here he's left holding the bag. He gets $5,000 out of the code upgrade allowances, and he loses out on just under $100,000 of it. He didn't want to come out of money to remove and replace that roof system, so we just completely restored it. Or, for instance, maybe we go back to the gravel ballast system. Maybe you have a system that's it's old, it's leaking all the time, they've been hodgepodge and putting pookie all over it, it just keeps on leaking, they're tired of dealing with it, and there's no way they want to rip that thing up and spend all that money, so they're going to restore it. Or maybe we have a metal system that just has a few failing areas, but you look up there, the metal still has its color, it's gray, it's not rusted out, it's just some fasteners, it's just some flashing details. It's still a good metal system, it just has some failing areas. We can restore it. So it's good when you can restore a pre-existing system without having to replace it. Now, on the flip side of that coin, a restoration is not going to be your go-to on everything. You may have a roof that's just been leaking for years and it's saturated with thermal anomalies beneath the surface. We don't want to encapsulate that because it's going to blister out. If you have a minimal amount of thermal anomaly or moisture trapped in the roof surface, there's things that we can do like add one-way vents and stuff to still restore it, but if you get to a certain point, then it does need to come off. And then you may have folks that just don't feel confident or competent with the restoration. They may have had a bad experience with a contractor. You'll hear a lot of that in foam and fluids, and that typically happens from people working with individuals that do not know what they're doing and shouldn't actually be applicating roofs in the first place. And they may want to go with a single ply layover or something along the lines. What I always say is, even though I'm known for foam and fluids, it's not the answer to everything. You're going to find an efficient system for every client's investment. The other thing that I'll say to folks when I'm wrapping up with them is I'll say, what would it take for me to have the opportunity to earn your business? I'll ask them straight out, what would it take for me to have the opportunity to earn your business today? Because then I'm drawing out, what are you looking for in a contractor, and what would it take for me to earn your business? If you have that information, you can structure things around the client to make sure that you can gain them as a client. So that component will fit in with these other two and make it pretty easy to close, especially when it comes to foam and coatings. The next one. Know your craft. This one's a very important component. So if you know your craft and you actually know what you're doing, we're not just a good salesman anymore, we actually know our trade. Meaning, do we know the systems that we're selling? Can we explain the systems in detail? Can we explain the manufacturer specifications? Can we explain the warranty to them? And then we can set up the next component here in a moment, which is set expectations since we know our craft. What's some of the easiest ways to know your craft, especially with commercial and fluids and foam? Spend time on your jobs or other jobs, if you don't have any yet, that you can spend time on, Taylor's or somebody else, or call me and say, hey, can I jump on one of your jobs? You came and talked to us for an hour, can I come see one of your jobs? On commercial, spending time on your jobs will make you dangerous because you'll actually learn what's going on. With fluids and foam, I'll even let guys get behind the gun. spray a little bit of the coating, spray a little bit of the foam, things of that nature, so they actually really know the craft, so they can explain it to the client in detail. Plus, they're gonna see that you're competent when they're speaking to you. You're get hung up off from the sales stuff to start explaining why that's the efficient system for their investment. The second thing that you can do is lean on your distributor. So I know we have relationships with ABC, Gulf Eagle, etc. Those are relationships. They're not just who we buy product from. A real distributor is a partner with a roofing organization, meaning you can rely on them. Well, if they want you selling product, then you need to know what you're selling. So my suggestion is you could leave this today and call up your distributor and say, hey, we did a workshop with Jonathan Sherwood. He said to lean on you, I can get some free training. Can I get a list of your scheduled lunch and learns that are going on this year? Here's the products I'm really trying to focus on. Could you arrange for the manufacturer rep to come in and do a teaching for us? You can get all of that no cost. Those two things are life-changing, and you can apply that to any system you want, not just this. To your shingles, to your metal, to your TPO, to your PVC, to your EPDM, to your tile, to your Ludo, any of that stuff that you see out there, you can apply these concepts to. Set expectations. So let me give you a good example of setting expectations, and since we're gonna be dialing in on the fluids, I'll use the fluids to do it. Water is your best friend at the beginning of the project and your worst nightmare during application. So we need it in the beginning. We want it nowhere near coming off the sky, coming out of RTU package units or drains, or anywhere near the project during the application, whether it's any one of those types of fluids. So if we have a system that's failing, and you have somebody that calls you and it has multiple leaks and you're getting ready to restore their building because it's failing, if we go out there with 4,000 PSI surface cleaners and pressure washers and start pressure washing it to promote positive adhesion day 1, 2, 3 of the project, and it's already failing, what's gonna happen? It's gonna leak into that building. If we don't it's a bright sunny day out and they're already mad because there's trash cans everywhere, and we don't let them know about that, and we start pressure washing that building, it starts leaking down their building, that is not a good way to start your project. They're probably gonna be upset, but if you let them know ahead of time, hey, leave those buckets out, or place some buckets in the areas that are already failing, or do you have any type of computers, TVs, or things that need to be moved that could get damaged? Because the first few days while we're gonna pressure wash this existing system, wherever it's failing, it could fail into your building, and I just wanna let you know ahead of time. Now, once we get into the project, we don't want any moisture around anything, so we wanna make sure that we tell them, we stay up on weather, we say, hey, look, we have a chance of moisture. We may only have a 20 or 30% chance of precipitation and not feel comfortable with moving forward on that day with applicating. So it's constant communication and telling them what to expect, and that's where that timing and that scheduling is gonna come in. Let's talk about timing. How we applicate roofs in the prime roofing season of the spring and the summer, and how we applicate roofs in the fall and the winter are two different things. We also have to worry about the temperatures. So you can usually put foam down, they say 50 degrees and rising. I like to say 55. Silicone, they say you can put it on when it's freezing. I've never experienced that. That's craziness. I don't want to be up there at 0 degrees. I don't want to be up there at 15 degrees, but the product itself you're supposed to be able to put on when it's cold. But here's the thing. We have to watch also the moisture on the roof. So let's look at our roofs right now. So here we are in January. We wake up, we have roofs going on right now. The roofs are frosty. The roofs are wet. So when you're doing TPO or shingles or metal or anything else, those guys are rocking and rolling at 7 o'clock in the morning. So your client may come to you when it's 10 o'clock and we're not even there yet and say, hey, what's going on? Well, we want to let them know before we even get started, or at least the night before, hey, there's frost that's going to be on your roof to about 10 or so. That moisture will cause the foam to blister. We're not going to get started today to about 10 or 10:30. We may set up at 10, then we may hit it with the blowers and then let it dry even a little bit more. We need to let them know why we're working different hours of operation than any other system. The flip side of that coin, let's say we're in the heat of the summer. Well, it's Texas and it's flipping hot. So if those guys are up there and they're working and they're sweating and that sweat starts to drop down in that foam, it's going to create a blister. So sometimes with that sun beating on them that hard and being suited up, it'll really slow them down. So what do we like to do? When's it cool off the most? At night. we can get more work done at night. So you may want to tell them, hey, we're going to be here in the morning. When it gets real hot around lunch, we're going to cut out till the sun starts to go down, and then we're going to come here and set up lights, and we're going to get more work done than we get done during the day here at night. Slow down. Slow down. Everybody's. That's great, because you can fly by the seat of your pants, knocking some doors and selling some hell claims, and be all right most of the time. You start messing around with large high-end homes, specialty shingles, or commercial, this will f you up if you don't slow down. And if you taste a little liability on something real big, you can work yourself right out of a job, or the company you're with right out of business. You know, we did, I don't know if you guys have ever had Mission tortilla chips or Mission tortillas. I just did their last building, 250,000 square feet. Something goes wrong on that roof, liability-wise, it can really get you. So when I got into commercial years ago, and I'd get so excited for the opportunity to big. So here I am on something to say anywhere like 30,000 to 100,000 square foot building. I'm just like, yeah, I can't wait to get this. And I talk to them and they're like, oh, we need that bid in like tomorrow or the next day. And I'm trying to get those bids prepared on this giant proposal that if it went wrong, I would, you know, be in the red and lose my ass, and it really would not be good for me. And I'm trying to scramble and get people to give me back the numbers on material and talk to labor and do all this stuff. And they're like, Jonathan, we need a day or so to put this together. But I thought I needed to make sure I got it done because they asked for it. Most of the time I'd put myself through that. First of all, I'd be anxious and stressed out until I got that out. I wouldn't focus on anything else. And then when I got it to them, I wouldn't hear from them for 6 months, 8 months, a year. Once they see that sticker price, nobody's making those decisions typically overnight. So what I've learned to do is go back to this and say, when we're putting together a proposal for you, whether it's asphalt shingles on multifamily or a low slope that's a single ply system, foam and coatings, I need some time to gather the information that I'm going to need to propose to you. I need some time to make sure that I dial in what the specific system is that we're going to be proposing to you. When I get it to you, it's going to be a comprehensive scope of work with the cost, and it's also going to be material data sheets, manufacturer specifications, and a sample warranty. And then I'll be going over it with you. The other thing is, as a roofing industry, it doesn't matter if you're the person purchasing the roof, making the investment, whether you're the installer, whether you're the contractor, whether you're a vendor, you're a PA, you're a lawyer. This is a relationship business. It's a relationship business. So build those relationships. You'll see me do a lot of roofers helping roofers things, and what that is we're cultivating relationships where everybody wins, just like Chad said. If you're not familiar with it, then you see a whole bunch of people up here that are familiar with it. Stop, talk to them, see how they're doing it. Bounce some ideas off of them. And look, here's the thing people freak out about. Oh, well, you know, I do that and they'll take my job. Don't do business with people like that. If you do good business and you do business with them, everyone will end up dancing with who brought them. You don't have to worry about anything else if you're doing good business.